All right, fantastic. Well, welcome everyone to our Launching Your Career in Cleveland session. My name is Ezra and I work in our WGU Career and Professional Development Office. And I am excited to introduce Patrick from the Greater Cleveland Partnership. Sorry, I almost messed that up. To talk to us about the Cleveland Talent Alliance and I think all of the really cool resources that they have for those who might be considering launching their career in Cleveland. So, Patrick, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, I've just shared my screen. Just kind of pausing, just making sure that we all see it. Perfect. Um, Hi, everyone. My name is Patrick Hackett. I'm the Director of Town Initiatives here at the Greater Cleveland Partnership. Um, for this call, we'll talk a little bit about the Cleveland Town Alliance. But before I do that, let's talk a little bit about what GCP is and kind of what we do within the region. So we are Northeast Ohio's regional chamber of commerce. So you might have heard of a chamber of commerce at a city, or for specific groups. There's the British Chamber of Commerce, there's other ones, but we're the regional Chamber of Commerce, and we really act as an economic development organization where we really work with various stakeholders to really activate and kind of move our region forward. So this is actually one of those initiatives, the Cleveland Talent Alliance. I'll go to the next slide. So the Cleveland Talent Alliance started off in 2019 when one of our organizations, as you can see on this Team Neo, did a research, and we found that we were retaining 47% of our college graduates within the region. And before kind of mentioning that, just want to define that region. It's from Sandusky all the way to Ashtabula down to Youngstown, so kind of that triangle within Ohio. But they ended up doing a big research study and they found that we were retaining close to 47% of those college students within that region. And when we looked at our peer regions, we found that they were doing it, close to 55%. And when we did a little bit more research, we found that was around the gold standard of retaining within a region. So we set this audacious goal to increase that from, 47% up to 55 by 2030. So as of this year in 2025, we've actually increased it up to 51%. And so the organizations that are really active and engaged on that is Team Neo, Engage, Greater Cleveland Partnership, Cleveland Leadership Center, Destination Cleveland, and also Global. And we do a variety of stuff. We do a bunch of in-person events, and we also do our technology, which I'll talk about in our next slides. So we've been doing this now for about 4 years, and we have a lot of big learnings. But when we've talked to employers of all sizes, so the small businesses, your Main Street economy, all the way up to those Fortune 500 companies, we found that there are really three critical best practices and pro tips that we really ask for, job seekers to really engage in to increase their likelihood of, getting an internship or even that first job. So the first one is attend in-person events. What they find a lot of times is that, meeting you in person, they get to see a lot more than what the resume has to offer, and they get to really show who you are. They get to see your personality, how you carry yourself, your communication skills, everything along those lines. So one of the things that I just want to really encourage you all is, if you see WGU do a career fair or Cleveland Town Alliance do a career fair, or within I know all across the country, they have those career fairs. Highly, highly encourage you to do that because that is really what allows them to put a face to a name when they're looking at those resumes and move that from just, a resume on the shelf to a resume that they're going to interview as well. Number two, apply directly to the job posting. A lot of, job boards within on the internet, what they'll do is they'll pull those resumes on their websites. And so what happens a lot of times is that recruiter will have to go there to fill that out. And what we found talking to a bunch of people is, the first stack of resumes they love to look at are the ones that they meet from those career fairs. So definitely doing that. And then the second pile that they look at is really in those, applicant tracking systems. So when you apply directly onto a careers page or something like that, they are more likely to, again, you leverage those channels. And the reason is because these HR teams are pretty small. And so they really rely on channels that they know are going to be the most effective in finding solid candidates. And so when you kind of engage in those channels, again, it just increases your likelihood of having that initial interview as well. And then the last thing I want to mention is, build their network. These are people who, really, build that nice rapport with the businesses. So if you're looking to work with an organization, befriend that recruiter, befriend someone at that organization so that, when you do apply for that job, you can potentially get a referral or, tell them who they are because when they start thinking about what you do and they can imagine you in that. So again, building out that rapport with organizations is just so crucial because again, they just get to learn who you are. And when they're reading that resume showcasing all the great stuff that you've done, they get to think about who you are as a person and everything along those lines. So these three things, what we have found working with businesses and really getting people to find jobs here within Northeast Ohio have been really, critical pieces to helping people locate those opportunities. Um, so what I want to do now is I want to talk about some of the in-person events that we have here within Northeast Ohio. And again, this is open to all WGU students who are, within the region, or if you happen to be in the region when we're having them, you're more than welcome to attend. But right now we have three really big events that we really help showcase, and again, connect students and job seekers to employers here within the region. The first one being is Summer in the Land. This is this party for interns. And reason why we have this event is we know the majority of people move to a region because of a job. But we know that people stay more than 5 years because they're able to build a life here within the region. And so one of the things that we really, really try to do here is just showcase what life is in Cleveland outside of your 9 to 5. And so one of the things that we really like to do is say, hey, if you're really into sports, we have 3 sports teams here within the region. If you like music, we have all these music venues in Cleveland. And again, as you can kind of see where I'm going is we help promote and showcase what Cleveland has to offer so that you're able to imagine what your life could be like here. So when you get that job in Cleveland, you get to actually do things that are fun, make up more of your life, which is really cool. So this is a big event. We have about 2,000 interns typically attend the event. It's just a really, really big celebration. As you can see, we take over this whole section of a baseball stadium. It's just a great way for them to network, meet people, and everything in between. We also have College Fest. So this goes back to building out that network piece that I mentioned. We have the in-person events, but we also mentioned that other best practice of building out your network. And so one of the things that we do here at College Fest is it's not even really a job fair. What it really is just an opportunity for you to explore what opportunities there are within the region and really get to understand, what types of jobs, and how you can apply your education and what jobs and employers are available to it. So this is really just an opportunity to network, get to meet people. And again, because as you get to build that relationship and network, what ends up happening is we get to activate it at our Winter Career Expo. So at our Winter Career Expo, we have employers there who are actively hiring for internships and full-time jobs. So we had over 80 employers there this past year. And over 90% of those employers were actively hiring. So again, these events, we really try to curate them to make sure that when you do go, you're going to interact with employers who are planning to hire within the next 6 months. And so as I mentioned, right, you get to meet them, you build that rapport with them. So when you do submit your application online, what you're able to do is really, the recruiter is able to, attach your face to your resume. So again, it's just really great in-person opportunities. These are all free to attend and things that we definitely encourage people to attend. So again, we engage with over, 500 employers a year, and then we also engage with, over 3,000 students from across the region annually as well. So again, a lot of opportunities for students and employers to connect and meet up. On the other hand, I mentioned this one part, which is this talent platform and applying directly to the job board. So over this past year, we've conducted a huge research project with employers on how to, really we wanted to understand how job seekers were actively, looking for jobs. And more importantly, we wanted to understand the hiring practices of employers. And as I kind of mentioned, we really wanted to find that clear alignment in that bridge between the two stakeholders so that we could create a better pathway, from a student to becoming a employer or employee. And so we have our job platform. This is our regional job platform. So for those, I know I saw on the chat there's someone who wants to relocate here. This is a great resource for you. Anyone who's within our region, great opportunity for you as well. Unfortunately, this is just for Northeast Ohio jobs. So I did just want to mention to everyone there that if you're looking for a job in Columbus or Cincinnati, we do not have jobs, unfortunately, for that. But we do have employers who may have jobs there. So if you're trying to figure out if, Progressive, you can locate Progressive and then go to their careers page, everything there. What I love about this job board too is it allows to adapt to you. And I'll show you that in our demo. And we also have free career resources. And we also have this talent network. So I'm going to pause for a second and kind of pull that up. But while I'm doing that, does anyone have any questions about our in-person events or anything along those lines?
I have a question. I wanted to know, how do you go about registering for those events?
Absolutely. So if you join our talent network, what that will do is it will put you into a segment and you'll be notified of those events too. We also have a great relationship with the career services at WGU, so we'll be communicating those dates so that individuals will be able to be aware of what's going on so that you can engage with those events as well. So there's a few ways to do it, and then the other thing as well is Cleveland Town Alliance has a LinkedIn page. I can find that after this call and share it over, but feel free to follow that. Or if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn as well, I'm often posting these events. So you can get notified about those through a variety of ways. But definitely the best way is just figuring out how to get engaged with one of us. So either follow me on LinkedIn or follow our CTA LinkedIn page to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Great question. And yeah, I posted it in Handshake, I know, for the last winter one, and I have to say it was a fantastic event. I went to Cleveland, I went to go check it out. It was a super great city. So
As my peers like to say, Cleveland rocks for sure.
I stand in agreement. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm currently in Houston, but I'm from Cleveland, so I stand in agreement.
Okay, love it, love it. I'm glad you're looking to come back up north, which is great. Um, um, I saw another chat that I can definitely answer really quick. So, Jared, you mentioned that you're a cybersecurity student, and you're trying to figure out what type of job fair. That's a great question. One of the things that we try to do with the Cleveland Town Alliance job fairs is we like to release a list of those companies, and more importantly, a quick description of those companies, so that when you're looking at them, you can see if they're a good fit and maybe even have those cybersecurity functionalities of it. And actually, on our job board, you can actually filter down specifically for cybersecurity and find those opportunities here within the region too. But I think technology job fairs are pretty, they try to be pretty vague, and so I think that's a great spot to start as well. um, the other thing I want to mention too, we found this from our job seekers, is a lot of students get very focused on a specific field that they're looking to get into. And what they may not recognize, and one of the things we really try to promote, is that a lot of this education has a lot of great transferable skills. And so just because you're looking for a cybersecurity analyst position, you might be a really good fit for another job in tech. And one of the things I would definitely encourage is, just looking at where those other skill sets could apply and what other jobs you may be really engaged with. So we always use finance. A lot of people like to work in investment banking and private equity. Try to be hyper specific with it, but there's a whole field, or the whole finance industry has a lot of job opportunities. And what a lot of people may end up finding is that they actually really like other finance positions versus those ones that are traditionally romanticized or showcased on television. and everything there. So really quick, I want to transition over to the job board. So this is our job board, and we have a lot of great resources on this. So I just wanted to talk for a second. So I saw that we have a lot of people here who are not just in the Cleveland area, but from Columbus, Arizona. I saw Asheville, North Carolina. So for those who are interested in moving to Cleveland, we actually have a great page that actually has moved to Cleveland, and it actually helps you imagine what your life is. So as you can see, we have all these resources about living in Cleveland, talks about what industries we have here within the area. We also have housing. So if you're trying to figure out like what's the fun, hip neighborhoods, or if you have a young family and you're trying to figure out what neighborhoods are great for small families, again, really adaptable to you. We have all these great resources to show you, what Cleveland can offer and provide for you all there. So the way that you can find that, again, is if you go to this Find Your Future, you can go to this Move to Cleveland side of it as well. So before I kind of look at the jobs, I want to mention we also have great resources for individuals who are looking just to get the ball started on becoming, someone who's trying to get a job or an internship. So we have a resume builder. We also have a resource guide for LinkedIn. And we also have a resource that allows you to get interview training and prep. So again, these are all free to use. These are really just to get the ball rolling on it. So if you're wondering how to create a resume or create a LinkedIn profile and you don't know where to start, I highly recommend coming to this page, because these tools will definitely get you that resource. And then when you do meet with your career services, they can really take that good document and transform it into being great. So again, just some free tools for you to kind of get the ball rolling and help you start, becoming a really strong applicant for some of these positions here. And so again, highly recommend you to do that as well. And then, as I mentioned, if you go up here to Find Your Future, you can go to Explore Jobs, and it will take you down directly to our job board. So this actually, as I mentioned, is our regional job board. It has over 2,100 companies listed on here. And at the moment, we have 37 over 3,700 jobs live and active on this job board. So the way that this works is it actually identifies where these companies are posting their jobs directly and pulls directly from that careers page. So you might have remember I mentioned this on the presentation, but a lot of employers really would like you to apply directly to that job posting. And so this job board, the way that it's set up, is it will aggregate all those job postings, but for those that you're really interested in, will take you directly there. So I'll demonstrate that in a second, but I got a really fun question that I would love to ask everyone, because we're able to grab a lot of really great information about this job board. And again, just really want to highlight and showcase it. So we're actually able to see across the region what day is most likely that employers are able to post jobs. And so I'm just kind of curious, what day do you all think that most employers post a job? Is it Monday? Is it Thursday? And you can all answer it in the chat, but just kind of curious on what you all may think that is. Okay, we got Tuesday. Okay. Friday. All right, one more, and then Thursday. Okay. So we looked at this trend over the last few months, and we found it is consistently Wednesday. So you all got it, which is great. So one of the things I'd highly encourage you all, so, when you're looking at jobs and you're trying to find, when to submit, look at all these job boards on Wednesday. That's really when we find that employers are posting their jobs and really trying to get a lot of people, exposed to it and get them to apply. So again, when you're looking for a job, Wednesday is definitely the day to do it. So I know all of us are looking for these internships and entry-level jobs. That's right. So what's really great about this is you can do accounting, you can really do these job functions, so you can get as specific or as vague as you want. So for this, we'll just do accounting and finance. And then as you can see, we have over 187 jobs posted here just specifically for accounting and financing. And then you can also drill it down for internships. But we can also do this. We can clear all and do internships and entry level. So as you can see, we have over 1,100 jobs here within the region that are for internships and entry level. So when you're looking for a lot of opportunities, we have a ton of jobs that are open and available. So what you can do is you can scroll around, see what might be a good fit and things along that. So say for instance, you're someone who's just a traditional business administration major and you really want to have an internship in operations and you just want to learn how things operate. So the way this works is this is still within this job board, but what it does is it shows you what this job posting is and you can explore it, see if it's a good fit based off of what you're trying to accomplish. And if it is, what you can then do is click on apply now. And as you can see, it takes you to the actual job posting. And so the reason why we do that again is the two main ways that employers really like, for job seekers to engage in is through those in-person events and also, having them apply directly. So we really wanted to, have a job board that aligned for that. But say for instance, you're looking and nothing's really, piquing your interest and you're not very, you want to see what else is adaptable. Well, like I said, this job board really adapts to you. So you can be as vague or as specific as you want. So, Jared, I know you mentioned about cybersecurity. You can, you know, drill into, cybersecurity internships, and every day you'll get a notification from our job board on opportunities here that are here within the region. Or again, if you just want to see what internships and entry level jobs are available, you can create a job alert around that as well. So I just highly recommend, especially those within the region who want to engage with it, just come on and then create a job alert, and you can do that as well. It does include public sector companies as well. So this job is like an iconic Cleveland board, and what I mean is it's like Goodyear, Progressive. A lot of these companies, Sherwin-Williams, they're very iconic Cleveland companies. Some of these companies may not be GCP members, Greater Cleveland Partnership members, but they are, it wouldn't be a Cleveland job board without having those on it. So we, looked at all sorts of companies from our Greater Cleveland Partnerships membership base, which is around 12,000. We added, the 2,000 that really fit that criteria we really want. And then for those that haven't, that weren't members but definitely need to be on it, we added those companies as well. So that's kind of how we, really figured out everything too, Michelle. So we really tried just to make sure we covered most of our bases, and we're constantly adding new companies as well. So, this is really just expanding there. And speaking of which, the other thing that you can do too is click on this Explore Company tab, and you can actually get hyper specific. So for people who want to do like nonprofit management organizations, Cleveland has over 53 nonprofit organizations. So I kind of talked about this earlier about finance, where people are really hyper specific and want to work in one field. But there's a lot of things that kind of encapsulate that industry. A great way to visualize that is actually through these, exploring the job board. And then what you can then do is click on it. So say City Year, for example, they don't have any jobs, but it will tell you a brief blurb about who they are. It'll tell you about the size of the organization, and you can create a job alert for those organizations as well. So if you want to work at a company, you can create a job alert for that. Or if you want to be really vague, you can create a job alert for that. And again, that's my favorite feature of the job board. So I'm going to go back up here and talk about this talent network. And so when you join this talent network, what it does is it really helps collect a lot of information about what it is you want to do from a work perspective, but more importantly, also what you want to do, outside of work. And so it's kind of this, both sides of the coin of, when we're thinking about keeping people within our region or attracting people to our region, we really want to make sure that people can visualize who they are and outside of work. And so we really try to do that as well. And so when you complete this form, I gave everyone a brief, more abridged version of it in the link. But if you want to fill out more information, you would come here. Here, I'll share this in the chat. And again, it would just collect all this information. And once you've collected it, what it does is it populates into this talent network. And so let me just show you really quick what a recruiter would see. So this is my profile. And so this is all scraping from LinkedIn. And so this information is always up to date, always fresh. So when you join this talent network, what we'll do is, you know, a recruiter will always see the most updated information. And what's great about it is that this student isn't having to update multiple places for their information. They're only having to do it in one place, which is their LinkedIn. And again, we'll just update it on our end through an automation. Um, that's the bulk of my presentation. I'm going to pause for questions and see if anyone has anything that they would like to do that. So I'm going to pause for a second. All right.
We had, there was a question, I think that we skipped about current job I can't talk. Current job opportunities within the public health sector, specifically. Public health, the top of your head?
Yes, we do incorporate that. So again, we have all the major healthcare systems here within the region located on it, and then we also try to have a pretty good bulk of nonprofits that really align with those as well. So absolutely, we do have those.
Let's see, here's a question. From your perspective, where do you see the biggest gaps employers are seeing right now between community need and organizational execution in Cleveland?
That's a great question. And that's one of the things that we're really trying to address is really understanding what the demand side of all this equation is and really the supply side of it. Um, I can't really give you a more definitive answer on that, but what I can tell you is that we are really starting to look into that and trying to see if, you know, from a higher ed standpoint, you know, communicating, hey, here are the needs of the businesses and how can we create better alignment from a higher ed standpoint. So it's actually information that we're conducting deeper research on. I apologize, I can't go in more depth around it, but we are starting to explore what that is and so that we can minimize that gap as well. But once I have something, I'll definitely share it with the higher ed team so they can distribute that with everyone here.
Right. And then I think that's the next one is for me. Where can we find information about attending WGU job fairs? Great question. So our team does Career Quest 3 times a year. So right now we're in winter Career Quest, and we bring in a lot more individual employer information sessions. So for example, like Patrick today to talk about Cleveland Talent Alliance, but we've brought in other organizations to talk about, you know, who they are, what they're recruiting for, what they look for in candidates, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put, here's the link to Career Quest. If you scroll down a little bit, we are hosting our first virtual internship fair next week, Wednesday. So you can register for that and take a look at who's coming for that. And then otherwise, our strategy is to do more program specific events. And then of course, virtual, since everyone is all over the place. So that will continue to be our bread and butter. But I highly encourage you to check out events like this. I know for the winter expo, I went there. I think there were 12 students of ours that registered, right? So take advantage of these events in your community that are, like Patrick said, free to you, right? These are free resources. These are great ways to network within people in your community. So keep that in mind as well. And then here's another question. How is the demand for cybersecurity professionals in the Cleveland area? And is it a growing market?
It is a growing market. We found that a lot of people are looking for cybersecurity. So this is definitely a growing field due to a lot of industries that we have here. So we have a big healthcare sector. We also have a big finance sector as well. And cybersecurity tends to follow those fields. So what we found is, you know, it definitely is a growing market as well. In fact, there's some big companies here in the region that I can, you know, that are definitely those cybersecurity employers and really are, you know, looking for folks as they grow.
Excellent.
And Oh, I'm sorry, I had
Yeah,
a
no, go
question.
ahead.
So I just had a question. Who else or what other employers or organizations would you recommend that we speak with to better understand where the Cleveland market is heading to and how we can better contribute no matter what our field of study is?
Could you actually repeat that question again? I apologize. My audio cut out.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I just asked, who else would you recommend that we speak to better understand where the Cleveland market is headed, in regards to our specific field of study?
Yeah, great question. And that's what's really cool about the Cleveland Town Alliance is that, right now you're just, I'm talking to you as, someone who works at the Greater Cleveland Partnership, but there's 14 other organizations that are dedicated to working and engaging that. So one of the things that we can do is just have you and I connect offline. And what we can do is identify a partner that would be a good fit for that and be able to kind of get you on that journey as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll reach out.
Of course.
And I'm adding a resource too. We have lots of fantastic alumni in the Cleveland area as well. So I put in a tool that we have at WGU called Ask a Grad. So you can go in and pose a question. And so you can say, I am looking to speak with an alum in Cleveland in this specific area, cybersecurity, finance, whatever it may be. And the system will look at who our alumni in that area are and send them your question. And we've gotten some really great responses from our alumni who are happily and like willing to talk to students. So I put that in the chat as well as a little plug. And then we have another question here from Shannon. I'm currently applying to roles outside my current state because I'm actively planning to relocate. I have noticed that many applicants who are not local seem to be screened out early, even when they are highly qualified. I'm going to check out the website, but from your perspective, what is the best way for a serious, ready to move candidate to demonstrate that they are not a relocation risk?
Shannon, one of the things that I would have you do is fill out the full Join Our Town Network form. And what that does is it will collect all this information about what your field of study is, who you're interested in, in terms of outside of work, like what are your interests, and what we can do is connect you with. So we actually have an individual who's dedicated to kind of helping people on this relocation journey that you're looking for, and kind of leveraging all of our networks to find you an opportunity. And so what's great about filling out that intake form is that it does demonstrate you are willing to relocate. And so that's something that we can go and talk to folks about is saying, hey, we have a candidate, they are out of market, but they are wanting to relocate to Northeast Ohio and want to work at a company like yours.
Okay.
The other thing I was going to mention is um, this is a great opportunity for you to kind of build that rapport with some recruiters. So if you're on a LinkedIn or anything, just messaging the recruiter and tell them, hey, I saw this is in person. I'm out of market, but I am looking to relocate to the region just to demonstrate that you're not just applying blindly, but you do have some intention behind the application as well, would be my recommendation.
That's great. All right. Any other questions or anyone that I've missed? How competitive are remote positions in your opinion?
I would say they're fairly competitive. I would say right now our job market is a fairly competitive market. So what I found is regardless of, if it's a in-person hybrid or a remote position, um, the demand or the supply is pretty high. So there's a lot of demand for those positions for them. But on this job board, you are able to find those that are hybrid or remote jobs. If you're looking for companies that are looking for specific type of individuals, you can definitely filter by that as well.
Question. I'm going to go ahead and put your LinkedIn in the chat again, Patrick, just so everyone has it.
Of course. So yeah, like I said, connect with me, fill out the form, and happy to help you out in any capacity as we can. And then for everyone, again, these in-person events and our resources are all free. So if you're in the neighborhood and you want to attend, everyone is seriously more than welcome to participate.
Michelle says this has been very informative. Thank you for coming, Michelle. And before I forget, I'm putting our survey link in the chat as well. It's like 2 or 3 questions. It takes not a long time, but let us know who else you want to hear from. If it's from some of those Cleveland companies, great. If not, that's okay too.
But
All right, lots of thank yous. Well, fantastic. Huge thank you, Patrick. Thank you so much
thank
for
you.
telling us a little bit more and sharing all of the wonderful resources and plugging our career services resources too. We appreciate that.
Always, always.
Right.